Hello again, everybody. By the time you see this, it's probably going to be at least 6 or 7 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, if not later. Sorry about that. Sorry for making you wait, but I can only upload one at a time and still expect my battery to last. Alright, so far we've talked about Fort Carson in Colorado. We talked about the capabilities of the Spetsnaz and possibility of having hundreds, if not thousands of them in the United States already, maybe. We talked about who's going to be coming to the NATO summit to protest that, alright, as well as what my friend and I think are your basic chain of events happening at Chicago on the 20th, possibly moving into the 21st. Depends on how long it takes for each step to complete. Alright, and I want to issue a quick apology as well, because I know that in a couple of episodes I was basically totally on this idea, and then all of a sudden it looked like I wasn't. Well, more information has come out. If you haven't seen the first episode on this little mini series here, basically we got word from a source in Fort Carson that there is an unknown number of Spetsnaz troops to be landing there, and my friend was told not to contact that guy again. Basically tells us that this shit it's big. So next I'm going to talk about what's going to happen after Chicago. And this one is pretty much right along the blueprints for Nazi Germany, right along the blueprints for what everybody's been looking at. New World Order, one world government, all that crazy stuff. It's not looking too crazy anymore. So, post-Chicago. 1. Obama enlists NATO/UN aid. I've heard rumors about that already. If shit goes down in Chicago, I have no doubt in my mind that he will get that aid from these outside agencies. 2. Bills and executive orders pass to ban guns and take away the rest of our rights. Increase military presence, surveillance, wiretapping, which we've already got, the works, as a result of Chicago, if the shit hits the fan. Because like I mentioned earlier, I pray to God that this is not going to go down the way it looks like. But, my friend wanted me to convey originally just some extra facts that he knew that would help to prevent this shit from getting blown out of proportion. But just from what we got already, it's looking like crazies are right. 3. Spetsnaz deploys to disarm the U.S. If you will recall what I just mentioned, the last 2 episodes, Spetsnaz, one of their specialties is to disarm people forcefully. Not door-to-door, knocking on the doors saying, hey, we got to take your guns, the humane way. But literally forcing them out of people's hands if they have to, shooting people if they have to. No holds barred to get what they need done. I think that is a definite possibility after Chicago. Simply because of their reputation, the fact that they're already coming in unknown numbers. Perfect force to handle that. Get the job done. They don't care about casualties. That's fine. The more people that get killed resisting, the more people in the long run that will decide not to resist in order to preserve their own life. It worked in foreign countries, and unfortunately it'll probably work here. That is, unless, of course, everybody is as tenacious as we want to believe. I know I'm ready to die, to stand up for what's right. We'll have to face facts. If shit goes down, you're looking at liberty or death. 4. Martial law spreads to major cities, enforced by multinational forces. Once the example has been set, it probably won't have to rely too much on a huge number of personnel in each major city. I honestly can't remember if I ended up uploading this video, but I did a breakdown of how hard would it be to enforce martial law in major cities like Chicago, along with Boston, Los Angeles, Miami, Seattle, New York, DC. And it doesn't take a whole lot. As big as the cities are, once you control exit from the city, as well as the port and airports, so seaport, airports, and checkpoints, you basically got the whole place on lockdown. You control choke points, and then from there you can start building up troop strength in order to do whatever you want to do. 5. Government obtains absolute control. That's the end game here in America, people. The government obtains absolute control. That's what people have been saying all along. That's what more and more evidence has been pointing to. And for a while, I had a whole part of me mentally and emotionally thinking that, they wouldn't be planning this. They couldn't. How could they? How could they be so heartless? How could they be so insane? But at this point, when it pretty much as good as smacks me right in the face, when a guy's trusted friend severs all contact for fear of his life, and who can blame him? When it comes down to it, though, when it comes time to act, I think the decision should be pretty clear. I have one last quick section here before I end this for now. Things to look for. Right? This is stuff we were talking about possibly before, or most likely immediately following the NATO summit in Chicago, and basically the government's efforts to cover this up, to prevent any sort of counter if the shit hits the fan. Number 1, mainstream media blackout. Alright? CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, possibly even the BBC. I don't think any of them are going to report anything close to the truth. Local media might try, but not a lot of local medias will be able to get the word out if martial law is declared. I know if I was the guy in charge of boots on the ground, or calling the shots from the background, one of the first things I'd want to do as part of getting the population under control would be to control their media outlets. Yeah. It's already got a government influence, I think it's very likely that they're either A, not going to report on Chicago, B, outright lie about it at first, or C, put out half-truths, just enough to make you wonder, keep you in fear, not enough to make you decide to do something about it. 3, keep an eye on, no, I'm sorry, 2. Earlier, previously, I mentioned YouTube and the internet possibly getting censored. But a good point my friend made to me is that if that's what they expect that we'll think is going to happen, then why not do the exact opposite? Or just wait a little bit, let our guard down. Let our guard down. So what I said previously about YouTube or the internet getting censored, well, that still does apply. If you see it getting censored, that's a pretty sure sign that shit is about to go down, obviously. But if it doesn't get censored, they might have just decided to let it stay up and try to pinpoint possible videos being uploaded and stuff and nail them before people could view. So keep an eye on that, and if it doesn't get censored, keep an eye out, try to find any sort of underground footage that you can find of Chicago. Alright? Photographic proof. If the shit hits the fan, get the word out. Alright, 3, troop movement. Alright. Been seeing a lot of videos of military hardware, specifically APCs, tanks, Humvees, 7-ton trucks, engineers' trucks, stuff like that, being transported across the country. Now, there's no way for me to tell why that is the case. It could be recycled video from years ago. It could just be the hardware's coming fresh out of the factory to a base. Who knows? But keep your eyes out for troop movement, both equipment on the trains as well as seeing aircraft in the sky, either fixed wing, jet planes, rotary wing, helicopters. Alright, if you see obviously military looking helicopters that appear in your area for no good reason, go ahead and document it, video it, try to upload it if you can, if YouTube is still up by then, or other sources. Get the word out. Quote unquote troop reductions. What was one of the first things that Hitler did, that Stalin did, that every major totalitarian head of state does when he takes control? We're looking at the elimination of dissent. So one thing that you should keep your eyes on: troop reductions. If they all of a sudden report extra troop reductions on top of what they've already done with no prior warning, because all of that has to do with bills being signed and stuff like that. If you see it happening without that due process, that tells you that people probably just got eliminated because they did not accept the New World Order. Number 5, people disappearing. Quote unquote rapture. Now, don't bother me none if you're a little bit offended at that term. But the fact of the matter is, if civilian dissenters of government policy start disappearing, never to be seen again, right? People that are all for the Constitution, that don't like what they're seeing out there in the world, people that are putting their opinion out there, evidence they found, whether it's conclusive or just rumors, whatever the case may be. Well, all of a sudden people start disappearing. You don't see their videos anymore. Their channel gets shut down, and you know what they're talking about. That's another clear sign. You know, it's another clear sign, and I imagine there's a lot of people out there that could easily get tricked into thinking that all these people that disappeared are due to the rapture or something similar. Finally, number 6, losing contact with friends and relatives, especially near Chicago. Even if they don't report anything, if the 21st rolls around and your cousin or your aunt or uncle, who normally just lives in the suburbs of Chicago, all of a sudden doesn't call you, or you can't reach them, you know why. Pretty much self-explanatory. Those are all some things to look out for. That's all stuff that you can keep an eye on. And this is pretty much an ongoing discussion I've been having with my friend. When it comes down to it, it's up to each and every one of us individually to decide where the line is. Where's that line in the sand? Where if they cross it, that means war. That means open rebellion. That means the system needs to get changed. Where's that line in the sand? They've already started to take our freedoms away, and some of it didn't make any sense, and some of it they have quote-unquote legitimate reasons to do so for the protection of the American people. My friend, if it was, it was actually Ben Franklin, I believe, that made that remark. If people are willing to trade their liberty for security, then they deserve neither. Regardless of who said it, that's absolutely true. Are you going to trade security against the 1 in however many million chance that you're going to get killed by a terrorist attack? Well, people already did. How far are we going to let them go? As for me, I'm going to go into survival mode basically the moment I see the shit hitting the fan. And depending on what happens and how it happens, that's going to have to tell me whose side to be on. Now, I don't want this system to go to shit, but I do think the system needs a big overhaul if the people in charge don't turn it around. Unfortunately, I don't think that's their call. When it comes down to it, at this point, no matter what we do, no matter what goes down in Chicago, either the powers that be are going to bide their time some more, or they're going to manufacture an incident. World War I, the Great War they called it at the time, it began with one single bullet. A crazed, whacked out of his mind assassin shot, was it Prince Franz Ferdinand, I believe his name was, ruler of, I believe it was Prussia, or was it a Prussian that killed him? Either way, the world was sitting on a powder keg back then, and it took one bullet to ignite the bloodiest war the world had ever known until that point. Now that's either my ex or the Spetsnaz are here to take me away, one or the other, so I'm going to sign off now. That's all I got for now. Keep your eyes open if you think it's time to act. Better early than late.